It's time for the Nebraska Men's Basketball Coaches Show.
Wooster's got it, drives the ball, skip pass right side. Extra pass, Williams shoots the three, got it. Big three ball by Bryce, his 20th of the year for CVA, Central Valley Ag, 3 of the game, and Nebraska's up 3-zip. 13 in the shot clock in the corner, Buchton-Gel, pump fake, draws a double to Hoiberg. Right side, Esijan steps in, side step, 3 on the way, got it! 3 ball, Connor Esijan, his 3rd Central Valley Ag, 3 of the night. Back to Morgan, nobody in the paint. 5 out look, Williams pump fake. To Wooster, square, shoots the 3, got it! How about Wooster? A couple of 3 balls here. He had 3 coming in, he's got 2 in this game. Now the drive by DeVol, Price with a tomahawk with the left hand, missed the dunk, and the rebound is Nebraska's. Jacobs into the trailing Hoiberg, drives it, draws a double out to Griffiths, puts it up, got it! Back-to-back 3s by Gavin. You'd think they just won the Big Ten tournament.
Now with Fred Hoiberg, here's your host, Jessica Coody.
Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome into the program. We've got a couple hours headed your way here tonight. We have Sports Nightly, another hour coming up. Hour number 2, Greg Sharpe will be joining me then. But for the next hour, we're going to be talking Nebraska men's basketball for our Husker men's basketball hour. And joining us on this Monday evening is assistant coach Adam Howard. Thanks for joining us and coming back to the studio. Good to see you.
Yeah, always a pleasure to be here. Appreciate you having me on.
Well, 402-413-2400 is that number to text in if you got any questions for Coach Howard coming up over the next hour. Are you, I guess, settling into the cold a little bit more now that you've been here a couple of seasons?
Yeah, definitely an adjustment. I was actually kind of pleasantly surprised. We had a great fall, and pretty mild November, and even December wasn't too bad. But yeah, we're used to it, so it's we've made plenty of adjustments to it, and love Lincoln and everything that it has to offer, including the snow. I
was like you too. It took me a minute to get adjusted to it coming from more of the South, but these last couple and I saw you walk in, I'm like, it's a little chilly for us folk that didn't grow up in it, but I feel like we're both adjusting pretty well. Yeah,
no doubt about it. It's a great place, and it'll be over, before we know it. So at least we have the season to kind of keep us going, keep us busy, and get us through it.
Well, how is now with season number 3 for you? How does it feel being continuing to have that continuity with the staff and working with the guys that you've worked with now for multiple years? Oh, it's great. Great relationships with everybody on staff, and continue to learn from everybody. The way the staff is built. Coach Hoiberg's relationship and familiarity with Coach Linzer. Great to see the trust and relationship that those guys have, and what a big role Nate brings to the table for us. And then working with Coach Ziegler, a guy that's been a head coach before and has worked in every Power 5 conference and deserves a chance to be a head coach again at some point. Learn from him and his perspective on things. Being a former head coach, and then Luca and Emmanuel and Banya and Peyton and all the guys there. We've got great staff chemistry, and it's obviously played a big role in our success. Yeah, what does that do when you have a group of guys that have been together and have worked together, and you just continue to figure each other out and who has what roles and who does what best? Yeah,
it's great. It's a testament to Coach Hoiberg. Obviously, we've made some changes and some things over time, but the way things are, we've been successful with it, and guys that are all bought into to winning and putting our guys in position to have a chance to win, and whether it's recruiting, whether it's game planning, scouting, whatever it is, we've all got coach's best interest in his back, and trusting that the way he wants to do things is the right way, and we're all completely bought into that, and it's great. It's not like that everywhere, but we've got a good staff, and we're all fortunate to be here working for Coach Hoiberg.
Great stuff. Well, tough one yesterday at Purdue. You guys knew going into it, it's a tough place to play, Mackey Arena, and they just came out on fire. What was the messaging? How did the guys handle that one following the loss there at Purdue?
Yeah, it was tough. We have to find a way to go on the road and be better and get off to a good start, and put ourselves in position to beat a top 20 team right now. I think they're closer to a top 15, top 10 type team. They've got some great continuity and guys that have been in their program for multiple years and obviously played for a national championship, and a lot of those guys are back. So yeah, upset, makes our preparation this week just as important, more important, and have to go through a little bit of adversity. And Mackey's a really tough place to play, just like a lot of places in the Big Ten. It's one of the biggest selling points we have to kids when we recruit is how important basketball is to folks around the Big Ten footprint. And I think when I first got here, I think it was 46 straight years the Big Ten led the nation in attendance. So the environments every night are tough. And I was looking at it today. I think Iowa and Purdue, 19-1 at home this season. You throw Michigan State in there. I think the three teams combined are 28-1, with the only loss coming at Iowa to Iowa State in a 3-possession game. And Iowa State's top three in the country. Really, really good team, well coached. So it's going to be like that every night, and we learned that last year. And have to find a way to to be better on the road and go out and steal a couple if we're trying to do what we did last year and have a top 3 finish in the Big Ten.
Teams are also saying that about Nebraska, though, too.
Sure. Yeah, no question. It's it's just hard, and I don't know how to explain it. You look at our numbers, offensively and defensively, we're obviously way better at home. I think we're making 21 free throws a game at home in Big Ten play, 11 on the road. We're shooting almost 38% from 3 in Big Ten play at home and 26 on the road, and holding teams to 63 points at home, in Big Ten, and giving up, in the 90s right now. So it's just it does matter, and it's there's a home court advantage, every night, and we talk about going to Purdue or Iowa and having 17, 18, guys on the bench, and that's it. A few fans here and there, but have to play with a little more poise, a little more toughness on the road, have to execute, put our defense in good position to get stops. And so, we got a few guys that have been through it, but, a couple guys are new to this level or new to this league. And so hopefully, getting to experience, the Breslin Center, Mackey Arena already to this point in our season, it'll help us, prepare us to go on the road at Maryland and Ohio State and some of the places that we've got to go coming up.
Yeah, Coach Hoiberg was talking about this is the toughest stretch metrically if you break it all down of the schedule. Just this 5-game stretch here that you're in the midst of. I know Coach Linzer would be the first to not like some of the looks that Purdue got, but they were just sometimes the hand was in the face and they were knocking it down. Was it just one of those nights where they were just shooting the ball and everything was going in and not much really you can do about it?
I think so. Braden Smith, our point guard, is tremendous. He's playing like an All-American. I think he and Trey Kaufman-Wren right now are two guys, from an analytics standpoint, according to some websites, if you had to pick the top 5 best players in our league right now with how they're playing and producing, Braden Smith's number 1 and Trey Kaufman-Wren he's second. So those two guys together, they're playing a little bit different in terms of more spread, pick and roll, get it to the pocket, and they're really efficient with that. Last year, they had 11 guys that played through Zach Edey, and rightfully so. He was one of the, best talents, college basketball's ever seen and most dominant players. But, we didn't make it necessarily hard on those guys. We got to be better in some of our coverages, and we've got to be more physical. And, we were prepared, and Coach Linzer does a great job. We were as prepared as, for that game as we were for UCLA or Indiana. It's just, sometimes, guys in their building, they see one go in, and they have multiple guys that can do that. You let them get going, it's hard to get them, shut them off when you're talking about the type of talent and the caliber of players that are at this level.
Is there something you can do to slow that down?
There's got to be something, right? They're going to do that to a lot of teams. They had Northwestern, who's one of the better defensive teams, better well-coached teams in our league. They had those guys in the same position, and they've done it to Maryland. They're going to do it to to quite a few folks. I think we've talked about making some adjustments and doing some things differently to try to throw a different look at them here and there. A lot of it just depends on personnel and who's in the game and foul trouble and some of that stuff as well. So, we're looking at that and I'm sure you'll see some changes and some different things thrown at them moving forward.
On the offensive end, very uncharacteristic night for Bryce Williams, and it wasn't just that he didn't score as much as he has. He wasn't getting very many good looks. Why was that? Was there something that they were doing differently that he was not able to even get very many good looks at it?
Yeah, Bryce is getting a ton of attention.
Yeah.
And I think, starting with UCLA and, those guys, Bryce is seeing a body and a half to 2 bodies every single time he touches the ball. They're really loading up on him and making it hard for him to get catches. And, so we'll work with Bryce. I think he turned down some shots in the first half that we talked about at halftime and showed him at the half where, he had an opportunity to get a look up and maybe if he shoots one of those corner threes and he sees it go in, and then he feels a little bit different and gets in a little bit better rhythm. But Bryce is just his numbers. He's so efficient. He's one of the best players in our league, and he's going to get those type of looks moving forward. And we got to give him a little more space and put him in a better position. But Bryce is going to have to deal with that moving forward. And I think at halftime of the UCLA game, there was a little bit of frustration, but. To his credit, he said, Bryce, it's not anything you're doing. It has everything to do with what they're trying to do to you. And you need to understand the more you make it easier on other guys and get other guys involved, the easier it'll become for you. And he made those adjustments. And, we're playing Bryce at some point right now, much like he did last year. And so, trying to put the ball in his hands in different positions in different situations. And, Bryce will figure it out. He'll get it going. He's a great player and competitive kid, and we're asking a lot out of him. And he certainly has owned the challenge to this point in the season, and he'll figure it out.
How much of it too is having somebody else step up and knock down shots too to relieve some of that pressure off of Bryce?
Yeah, that's a big piece to it as well. If we can find another guy that consistently make a few threes. Like last year, we led the league in 3 points. Made, in the Big Ten, and Bryce was a big part of that. Casey was a big part of that. Sam and certainly CJ and Rink as well, and not having him, provides a little, some challenges offensively for us when you don't have a guy like Rink that can shoot it as well. But I think we can find a consistent guys to score and be able to throw it to Andrew and those guys on the block and play through them to kind of give defenses a different look. It'll certainly make it easier on Bryce.
Those 11 a.m. games, I don't know about you guys. I know you got to play what you're scheduled. But for me, I'm like, man, this is an early time to get up and watch a basketball game, let alone play it. What are the adjustments to that, especially on the road when it is an early tip-off for you guys and what you typically do? Yeah,
those early games, noon tip-off, you can't go to the gym. There's just not enough time in the day to do it. So, we try to get those guys the night before. We get them a good meal. We meet and stress the importance of getting a good night's rest. And then we get up in the morning and, have breakfast and have a couple meetings in terms of watching film and then just getting over to the gym and getting there early enough for them to, to get a little sweat and play some music loud in the locker room and get them woke up and try to hope they've got great energy and it's tough. You never know in those early morning games who's gonna set the tone with their energy and who's gonna be ready to go. But we don't get a chance to make the schedule, so
right.
it's just something we're gonna have to deal with and be ready to go.
Question of the chat for you, just asking about how this team can bounce back from a loss like that one. And Coach Hoiberg has said that a lot of times that this team is really good about that, getting back in the gym and getting back to work, whether it be a win or a loss. So how do you expect this team to bounce back? Because I know today was an off day for you guys, right? So you get back at it tomorrow? Yeah, we'll be in there tomorrow. We'll get a good sweat in the weight room and some recovery stuff. We'll watch film. I can promise you, as ugly as the Purdue loss was, it's not something we'll hide from. We'll get in there. We'll have tough conversations and the standard is the standard and we'll certainly show some things on film that we need to be better at. And then, we got a couple days to prepare. Tomorrow will be all about us, and we'll be competitive and we'll sweat and get up and down. And it's one of those things, like last year at Rutgers when we gave up all the offensive rebounds and, and the sports science department sends us the recommendations for the loads of the week. And, I think tomorrow will be one of those days where coach throws those recommendations out the window and we get done what we need to get done, and because ultimately we got to come back and pick ourselves up off the mat and play the way we can perform and protect our home court, which is, obviously put us in a
a great place to be in position to be at the top of the league if you take care of home.
How is this group about getting in and watching film, whether the good, bad, the ugly, whatever it is, breaking that down and finding the teaching moments? How do they embrace that part of the overall preparation part of this?
Yeah, they've been great, and so I don't have any, hesitations that our group won't be ready to bounce back and ready to go when we play Rutgers. Again, it's, I think it all starts with Coach Hoiberg and the staff. It's not something that, he's not going to allow it, and so we'll be ready to go. And in our groups, we got an older group. Bryce and Juwan have been here for multiple years now. Sam's been here multiple years. It's great to have guys like Rink Mast and Josiah Alec around, still to help with some of these new guys. Raleigh and Aaron, older veteran guys. Connor's been in this league for, 3 years now, so he knows, what's coming with Rutgers. Rutgers is playing right now against UCLA, two teams that are on a 3-game losing skid themselves.
Yeah.
So we know what we're, what's coming and what to expect. And so, our guys were pretty upset after, the Iowa and Purdue loss. And so I expect a pretty focused, determined group tomorrow and have a mature day of practice and preparation.
Not that you're ever okay with losing, but it's kind of part of playing in the Big Ten, right? You're going to take your lumps. Everybody is.
Sure.
I mean, even there's not going to very rarely be a team that goes undefeated at the top.
Right. Yeah. It's not, losing, there's not really any moral victories in this program. Coach is as competitive as, for as calm as he looks at times, he's one of the most competitive guys I've ever been around, and Coach Nate's a perfectionist and we doesn't ever let, anyone get comfortable, even when we are winning. So, it's tough. It's hard. You just hope to go out and play well, put yourself in position to be right there in that last 4-minute game. And we certainly didn't do that at Purdue, but, moving forward, I think we'll learn from it and be in better position to, to understand what it takes to win on the road in this league.
Great stuff. All right, we're just getting started. Segment number 1 in the books. We got more to come with Adam Howard coming up on the other side of this. The Nebraska Men's Basketball Show is sponsored by Union Bank and Trust, where people don't have your money has people. Back with more of the Nebraska Basketball Show coming up after this.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hi, I'm Tom Osborne, former football coach and co-founder of the Teammates Mentoring Program.
And I'm Des Moines Adams, Husker black shirt and CEO of Teammates Mentoring.
We are recruiting teammates mentors and need caring adults to be in the lives of our students.
Meeting with a student once a week at the school can make a positive impact in their life and have a ripple effect in our communities.
Please join our team.
Go to teammates.org today.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts. Hey Huskers, it's a new day in Nebraska. Manzer Equipment, Mertz Farm Equipment, and West Point Implement of Columbus have teamed up as True Ag and Turf. Coach Rule is bringing innovation and high-performance standards to Husker football, and True Ag is doing the same to your farm with game-changing Fendt equipment. As Big Red establishes power on the field, True Ag and Turf does the same in the field by welcoming Fendt to Nebraska.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Attention, Husker Nation. Are you ready to power up your game? Sap Brothers high-quality off-road red diesel is the fuel that powers your equipment. As official sponsors of the Huskers, we're here with a winning offer with the Sap Brothers Go Big Red Fuel Giveaway. Contract your upcoming fuel needs by February 1st and enter to win 1,000 free gallons of our off-road red diesel to keep your engine roaring and equipment running strong. Sap Brothers fuels Husker Nation. Visit sapbros.net/fuel giveaway for more info.
What does it mean to be locally owned and operated? For Cenex, it means everything. It means that we know if you take your coffee to go or if you like to stay a while. It means we've helped Little Leagues get jerseys and local festivals get funding. It means we know what our communities need. So you'll always leave Cenex with a full tank, full of snacks, or full of smiles. Or all of the above. And that means the world to us. Cenex, powered locally.
Set. Hike. When champions take the field, they come ready to play. TNL Irrigation understands the value of momentum. Like a Husker drive, there's no stopping. If you live for farming and football like we do, TNL Irrigation has you covered. Check your fields from the game with a remote system, or just enjoy the play knowing our systems are reliable as a sold-out Memorial Stadium. Touchdown! Nebraska born, Nebraska strong. Husker Nation and TNL Irrigation are like no other.
Nebraska soybeans power everyday products, from Goodyear tires and Skechers shoes to soy-based turf and fire suppressants. These innovations replace petroleum and utilize other components of the soybean, leading to more sustainable products worldwide.
I'm Doug Sadoff, a farmer near Trumbull, Nebraska. Thanks to cutting-edge research, soybeans are now in everything from tires to turf. It's amazing to see how these advancements are unlocking new potential for our crops.
Soybeans are a win for every product and everyone. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
Welcome back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, which is sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest's premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. Welcome back to our Nebraska Men's Basketball Hour. I'm Jessica Coody, joined by assistant coach Adam Howard for tonight's episode. 402-413-2400 is that number to text it. Coach, we've talked a little bit about just how challenging it is to go on the road, but then the atmosphere that is at PBA, and you guys have strung together now matching a program record win streak inside Pinnacle Bank Arena, and there's some chatter going on about just the differences. What are the big differences other than, I mean, you have the crowd and the energy, but what is it that allows this team to play so well at home that hasn't translated as much on the road?
Yeah, I mean, I think the importance of, protecting your home court is something we talk about a lot. And we have a plus-minus system that we follow in terms of, where you're at in the league. And if you, win at home, you're even. You lose at home, you're -1. You win on the road, it's +1. You lose on the road, it's even. And so we're still, even though we're sitting here 2-3 in league, we're still even in the league standings. And so, can't shoot yourself in the foot at home and lose a game to where you get into that negative column, because it's so hard to go out and win on the road to get back, to get that loss back. So, we make a big deal about that, and then trying to steal one to go plus, get into the plus column on the road. But I just think that, the energy the fans, feed off of, there's just a comfort level, and I think you guys just play a little looser and freer and, have a little bit more poise. When you go on a run, the other team makes a run, it doesn't seem like you panic as much as you do when you're on the road, and your offense doesn't affect your defense, quite as much. And like I said, we're shooting, I think, close to 38% as a team, from 3 at home, and 26%, from 3 on the road. And we're getting a lot of the same looks, I wish I had an answer to it, other than the fact that I just think that it's, there's a little bit of level of comfort knowing that you got 15,000 fans, there for you. And not only, I think it works both ways too. Like, how we feel when we go on the road is how teams feel when they come to PBA, knowing that they're going to have 50 tickets available to them, and the other 15,000 fans are rooting for the Huskers. And so I think it makes a big deal. Home court advantage is a big thing. And certainly when you play in a place like PBA, as special as it is, teams feel kind of like we felt at Mackey and in the Breslin Center. So really thankful after those 2 games that we are back home, to help us get us back on track. And I know the fans will be there for us to support us like they always are.
So the hype around PBA has continued to build over these last couple of seasons, and rightfully so. And with every broadcaster that comes in, they talk about it. Even now, Connor Sejan, we heard him a couple weeks ago on the program talking about when he was at Wisconsin. This was his hardest place that Wisconsin played. You've been in the SEC, you've been around, you played in a lot of buildings. Where does PBA rank among the best atmospheres in college basketball, in your opinion?
Yeah, it's right there at the top for me. You know, now that they had that bricking for chicken in league play, I think that one's pretty cool. That's probably the loudest I think I've ever heard it. You know, is when a couple nights ago, UCLA, one of the Spanish kid missed his first free throw, and I thought they were going to get it. You know, which was pretty cool. So. PBA's, it's at the top for me, and I've never been to Kansas. Obviously, Breslin Center is pretty special, and Mackey's pretty special. And it's just great to be at a place where it matters, and people care.
Yeah.
And, I cannot stress the importance of what it's like when we're going on those runs or we need a big defensive stop, that energy. I mean, it's not like a 6-man, it's like an 8th man. It just makes teams, that shot clock just seems to run a little quicker and puts a little more pressure on them. And so, we can't thank, the state of Nebraska, Lincoln, and, where everybody comes from to get to these games. It means the world to know that, tickets in the 300 level are going for $25, and not just $1 or whatever it is on some nights. And, so to have that, it's pretty special. And, as a staff, I know I speak for everyone and our players and our entire program, how thankful we are to have that because it matters. It truly matters. And to have that crowd, with students not in, the other night, when we get those guys back in here, we know it's going to be rocking the rest of the year, and we really appreciate it.
Were your kids a big fan of that bricking for chicken?
Yeah, they didn't know what it was. They asked me. They asked me why it got so loud, and so now that they're aware of what it means, I know 2 of my 3 we're going to be participating and hoping they get some chicken because they love Chick-fil-A, and Charlie over at the one in South Point Pavilion takes care of them and always looks out for them, and I heard they've got Chick-fil-A in there Thursday night. I think they're selling it, so go support Charlie and those guys. He's an awesome guy and a big help for our program, but yeah, my kids they'll be all over it. So
yeah, shout out to the marketing crew, Husker Vision. I mean, the fan base is awesome, but then it's also like it's a production and that goes on even outside the game. It's an event to go to, both for the men's and women's games.
Yeah, for sure.
Inside PBA.
Yeah, no question. I know it makes their job. It's got to be a lot funner too when they know they've got 15,000, 16,000 fans in there too, and people were raving about the Office theme the other night, and I've never seen an episode of The Office, but I saw a lot of positive reviews on it, and Brendan and his crew, they do a great job, and so there's great people all around this department, and that's what makes this place so special.
Wait, you've never seen an episode of The Office?
I haven't. I'm ashamed of it. I've heard it's great. Coach asks about it all the time. He referenced it, but I never had time to do it, and it's not something that it's ever made its way on my TV. Not a lot does, especially these days when I've got 3 kids. It's 8, 6, and 2, and don't have a whole lot of time for it. But I've heard it's a true classic.
So honestly, I didn't watch The Office much growing up either, or when it was a big thing, I didn't watch it either. But so I'm with you there. And I got a lot of flack for it. But what is your go-to then? What would be your number 1 TV series then? Oh man,
good question. I watched Suits quite a bit last summer.
Yeah, that was good.
Suits went on our trip to Spain, and then being over there and the time change and not being able to sleep and being up. Suits was a good one for me. My wife and I have a few things we watch every now and then, but not a whole lot, to be honest with you.
You got a lot of kids shows going on, I'm sure.
Yeah, a lot of Moana and things of that nature. A lot of Disney Plus. So
there's a Suits LA coming out, by the way.
Oh wow!
So that'll be, I think, coming up maybe this year. I don't know. I was a big fan of Suits as well. All right, let's get back to basketball. We did have a question from Art. It was from the other day, but I was going to ask you about it anyways. Asking about the coach's son, Sam Hoiberg. He seems to just be getting better and better, and it's almost like every game he provides just a massive play, whether it be on the offensive end or defensive end.
Yeah, Sam's to have a guy that's been in the program now for as long as he has. to know the expectation and the standard of what it takes. Obviously, the old adage of a coach's son, smart and heady. He is certainly that, but he's tough. He plays a lot bigger than he is, which is a compliment to him. He's always not afraid to stick his nose in there, gets his hands on balls, makes timely plays, gets us easy baskets with, it seems like you can always count on a steal for a layup from Sam. He's getting a little more confident and a little more comfortable, and he's making some shots now for us. And I think he's, going to, be in position to even make even more and look to take more. But he does. He's got a quick first step. He's explosive. He's for the most of the nights, he has a great assist to turnover. I think last game it was 4-1. And so a lot of that is just getting in the lane and trusting the spacing plan that Coach has once we get there. But, he's a guy that's a winner. And, and it shows up in a big way a lot of times. And you talk about, someone playing off the crowd. Sam knows when it's time to get a big steal or dive on the floor for a loose ball or come up with, we talk about it all the time, there's 50-50 balls, we chart those, but Sam's a 70-30 guy. He goes and gets those ones that, the other teams have the advantage, and he just somehow comes up with it. And, he's going to continue to, find himself on the floor in big moments. And we're all certainly comfortable with him being out there closing games, even though he doesn't start, closing those games for us because there's a level of trust that he knows what's going on, and he's just really solid.
Talk about a guy that's got a tremendous amount of pride for wearing that uniform and just helping this program win. There's a deep love there and a want to get this program, no matter what it takes from him. He's a guy that I'll do whatever, right? Yeah, no question. He's competitive. And, I've heard all the stories of him and his brothers growing up. And it's funny that Coach talks about, him and his twin brother getting kicked out of Coach's own summer basketball camp. They were so competitive. I think when you grow up at around the game and, your dad had the success that he had, you certainly are always looking to prove yourself. And Sam, doesn't need to do that anymore. He's proven that, he's impacted our program as much as anybody the last few years. And, such a competitive kid, and it carries over. And guys feed off of his energy as well. How important is that example? I mean, here's a guy that was playing on the scout team, didn't have much of a role. Then there are a couple injuries the next year, and here he is playing a bigger role. And now he is to where you guys got to have him a lot of times to win some of these games. For young players that might be in high school or even coming into the program, just coming into college, that hey, if you wait your time and you put in the work, you can eventually get to that where you want to be. Yeah, he's a great testament to that. And a lot of times, things don't go the way anyone expects it to, but he's always kept himself ready, and whether that be coming back to get extra shots or extra film or, an extra lift or mobility session with Coach Kurt and his strength staff. Sam's a very confident kid, believes in himself a lot, which is a big part of playing at this level. And, he's just gotten better and better. And a lot of times, you look at his stats and nothing ever really just jumps off the page at you. You can't really measure his impact. And he's not going to be a guy when you get on KenPom and you look at the usage that he's not going to be at the top like Bryce, or Casey was. But, his impact on a game is as big as those guys in every single way possible. So I know he's been one of your defensive captains. Juwan has been one of the defensive captains, and Juwan's been a guy, he gets some big rebounds and he locks down on the defensive end. But Coach Hoiberg was asked about this the other day. How can you guys get him going more on the offensive end to be maybe one of those guys that alleviate some of that pressure from Bryce? Yeah, Juwan, we've talked about it on here before. He doesn't lack any confidence, in terms of if he makes, 2 in a row or if he misses 6 in a row, if he gets a clean look, he's going to put one up. But, for Juwan, he's got to continue to, get some easy ones, get out in transition and make better decisions when he has an advantage. Playing off 2 feet, getting fouled. I think he missed a few around the rim, at Iowa, a little sped up. That I think he would like to have back if we could get those back. Slashing a little bit more. Our most efficient shot
last year from an analytics standpoint was, when the ball hit the pocket, him slashing the baseline or slashing the 45. And so we got to get him back to doing that. We got to get him to, consistently crash the glass to get his second chance opportunities, to get himself to the free throw line a little bit more, especially on the road. And then everything, once Juwan makes a layup or he gets a putback or makes a free throw, then, I've said it before, that goal, gets, a little bit wider for him, and he makes those threes, timely threes like he's done in PBA. So, especially on the road, right now, Juwan's percentage at home, his splits at home and on the road, are drastically different, and so not settling for threes on the road, being aggressive and driving and slashing and getting some offensive rebounds can definitely help us in a big way.
Great stuff. All right, we gotta get to another break here on our Nebraska basketball show. Husker Extra is the best website and mobile app for everything Husker sports, from the experts at the Omaha World Herald and Lincoln Journal-Star. Go to huskerextra.com or search your app store today. We're back with more with Adam Howard coming up on the other side of this.
For 48 straight years, Ford F-Series have been the best-selling trucks in America. We got here by engineering breakthrough technology, redefining Built Ford Tough, and never settling for second best. But what's really made Ford F-Series the #1 selling trucks in America is you. Ford F-Series, Built Ford Tough. Based on 1977 to 2024 calendar year total sales.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Dear Truckin' Awesome. Want more horsepower in the stable? The Tundra iForce Max is the most powerful Tundra ever. With its electrifying twin-turbo V6, you got everything you need. Saddle up the Tacoma TRD Pro. Its segment-first performance seats are designed to smooth out the shocks when the ride gets bumpy. The Toyota 4Runner is part mean streak, part wild side, and an all-around icon. Check out that signature power rear window, will ya? Yes, sir, Toyota trucks. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
See your Omaha Metro and Lincoln Toyota dealers. Corwin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha, Baxter Toyota of La Vista, or Baxter Toyota of Lincoln.
Noddle Companies proudly supports the Huskers Radio Network. As a full-service leader in commercial real estate, we create thriving communities. Discover what's new in the Builders District in North Downtown, Noddle Hospitality's latest venture in Exarban Village, and the contemporary living of row house townhomes on Leavenworth. We're welcoming world-class concepts from men's fashion and great eats to gorgeous homes and green spaces, all professionally managed by Noddle Services. These are the Noddle Companies, building a better Nebraska. For more information, check us out on Facebook and Instagram.
On game day, every play counts. Now imagine having the same level of control in your field. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Real-time play-by-play control means you're always ahead of the game. Score big with simplified irrigation technology from Valley, improving your life both on and off the field. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Husker fans, it's game day, and Pizza Hut's got your perfect play. Score the game day special for just $29.99. Get 2 medium 3-topping pizzas, 8 boneless wings, and 5 breadsticks. Enough to feed 8 hungry fans. Pizza, wings, breadsticks, and more. It's the ultimate lineup to fuel your game day. Check out the full menu online at pizzahut.com or in store. Because remember, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
Shop Woodhouse Mazda, the Metro's exclusive Mazda dealers, and find the perfect vehicle for your next adventure. Lease the 2025 Mazda CX-90 PHEV Preferred for just $399 per month. Visit us in-store or online at woodhousemazda.com or woodhouseplacemazda.com today. 33 months, 10,000 miles per year with approved credit. Tax, title, license extra. $2,999 down plus first payment and $299 doc fee due at signing. Stock number X250217. Offer expires January 31st, 2025. See dealer for details.
Husker fans, this season, Nebraska is celebrating 50 years of Husker women's basketball, and we need you to help celebrate. You have shown up for women's hoops from the start and continue to prove that Nebraska fans really are the best in the nation. On Sunday, January 26th, the Huskers face Big Ten opponent Ohio State, and we are calling on all Husker fans to help pack PBA so we can celebrate 50 years of Huskers women's hoops together. Get your tickets now and be a part of this historic season. For event and ticket information, go to huskers.com/tickets. 50 years of Husker women's basketball. You guys have a neat relationship. Sharon, right there, you're right there, next door neighbors with Husker women's basketball. They're so hyped when you guys do well, and I know you feel the same way about them.
Yeah, they're great. Coach Williams and her staff they're awesome. And it's been cool to kind of have some turnover with their staff as well in terms of, people being in those offices for a couple years now. You get to know them a little bit better. Your kids, Julian's kids and my kids, they go to the same school, so you see each other there at events and different things. And, if the coffee maker isn't working in our office, we'll walk over and see if they've got any brewed and vice versa. So they're great. We love them and certainly pulling for them.
Oh, that's great. Well, free throws, you guys have been a pretty good free throw shooting team. Didn't shoot it as well in the loss at Iowa. Is there something you guys can pinpoint to in that maybe why you didn't shoot as well at Iowa that typically you do knock them down?
I don't know. Not really. I think it's just, we practice it every day. It's something that Coach makes time for, every day, every practice, multiple times in practice. At shoot-arounds the night before games, we shoot them. I think it's just one of those things. Guys are going to step up and make them, or they're just not. And like I said, we're averaging 21 made free throws at home, in league play and 11 on the road, and we certainly left a lot on the table at Iowa. And sometimes it happens like that, and then sometimes you go 16 for 17, or 21 for 24, and. I don't think there's, any rhyme or reason why, the guys just either step up and make them or they don't. That's something, the right guys getting there, and the right guys making them. And we need our veterans to do that, especially, going on the road when the margins, are really thin, making your free throws is part of being a good player.
We haven't actually had a basketball show, men's basketball show since that loss, and it was the first overtime for this team this season. What were some of the big learning moments? What were some of the things that this team will take away so that they handle it better or maybe come out on the other side of it the next time if you're in another overtime situation? Yeah,
I think just, the way that game went, putting teams away when you've got them down. Obviously Iowa's got a couple, they got a top 5 scoring offense from points per game, in the country, and certainly top 5 in our league in offensive efficiency. And so you can't allow a team like that in their own building. We've seen it, for numerous years, where they go on a 12-0 run in 90 seconds. They have that type of ability and firepower. And so, you just not, losing guys, and giving them clean looks. And like Sanford, it just took him one go in, and then he was unconscious, and so putting teams away when you've got them down and finishing games was the big, learning lesson in that one. But they've got some talented guys and some guys that can, fill it up and put it in the basket. And 2 of the better players in our league are on that team, and Sanford and Dix, in my opinion. And we certainly let those guys, get too many, clean looks for what they're capable of doing. But, like I said, when you get a team like that down, you got to play with a little more poise. They made a run, and it felt like we were, our offense was affected by them. And in turn, it led to us blowing some defensive assignments and didn't have as much energy to defend just because the offense wasn't going like it was for the first 25 minutes of that game. So learning to put teams away when you got them down and on the road, and it was the big learning lesson in that one.
What's going through your mind when Bryce lets go of both three-pointers that ends up sending you guys to overtime?
Yeah, obviously we got the guy with the right guy with the ball in his hands in the right moment. Certainly want Bryce taking that shot. They were trying to foul, didn't execute it, and I was actually pretty shocked that he was able to get one. Was able to get one up and get a clean look, but I felt really confident once he got that clean of a look that Bryce is built for that type of moment, and was certainly glad that he was the guy with the ball in his hands and that it went in.
I've asked a lot of different people, but I'd love to get your perspective too. What's kind of mindset switch have you seen for him here this season? It just seems like he's just on a different level when he takes those shots. He believes they're going in maybe in a different way than in the past. I mean, I know he's always been a confident guy, but it just seems like he's on a whole nother level this season.
Yeah, Bryce comes from a great family. He's a humble kid, a hard worker, really wants to win. I think he wants to prove he can do this 2 years in a row and get this team to the NCAA tournament for consecutive years. And so just to see him talk in huddles, to hear his voice when things are going well in practice, for him to step up and talk and to refocus our group, that's what he's been able to do, and I think the confidence comes from all the work that he's put in, day in and day out, in terms of being in the gym, shooting free throws, or getting 30-minute sweat and some extra shots, seeing it go in, and Bryce has put himself in position to play basketball for a really long time, and he's certainly on the radar of executives and front office, folks at the next level, and rightfully so. He's one of the best players in the league and in the country, and Bryce is deserving of all the individual stuff that's coming his way, because he's doing things the right way, and he's trying to lead, and he's about winning, which is special as well.
All right, good stuff there. Got to get to our final break. Coming up on the other side, we got our final segment with Coach Howard. Contact 811 2 days before you dig to protect your underground utilities and yourself. It's free, it's easy, it's the law. Back to wrap up hour number 1 coming up next.
If there's one thing Nebraska's known for, it's our beef. And Nebraska soybeans feed a lot of them, and even more pigs and chickens.
I'm Jason Pinky, a farmer near Craig, Nebraska. Soybeans are vital for feeding our livestock, and they're also a powerhouse protein source for people worldwide. Our world needs protein, and Nebraska soybeans are making a difference.
From tailgate grills to global plates, farmers deliver affordable, nutritious protein to build muscle and energy for everyone. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
A team succeeds when they work together. Banking's no different. At UBT, we're in your corner for every financial move you want to make. Your money's backed by a roster of experts who put in the work to know you and your community. So whether you're opening a savings account, buying a home, or planning your future, you always know who to turn to. Working together toward your financial goals. That's a win in our playbook. Union Bank and Trust. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
When you're in the stands and have the ability to control your irrigation in the field, it's a game-changing moment. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Experience real-time, play-by-play action and control that keeps you ahead. Score big with irrigation technology from Valley. It's technology that improves your life and lets you be at the game and in the game. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
In the heartland, where ambition thrives, there are those who are made and those who are made for more. Just like the Huskers on game day, Kloss, a leading producer of ag equipment, unleashes the power of ambition in the field. Discover why our cutting-edge machinery and unwavering support aren't just a promise, they're a commitment to your success. Because at Kloss, we know you are made for more. Visit your Kloss dealer or CLAAS.com.
Dorothy Lynch, home style and light and lean dressing, endless flavor abilities. Welcome back to our final segment of our Nebraska men's basketball hour with the assistant coach Adam Howard, Coach, before the break, you were talking about Bryce, how much time he spends in the gym. Coach Hoiberg actually brought that up, how much the assistants you guys all get in there. You got a lot of guys that like to spend a lot of time in the gym.
We do, and I think that's testament to Coach and his culture that he's been able to build here the last several years, and when you have a guy that's played at the level that Coach played. And he's able to talk to him about, what it takes to be a good player and to be consistent, in your habits and your behaviors and to see some carryover, and sometimes it's for guys that are playing 30 minutes and sometimes it's for guys that, are out of the rotation, just staying ready, because he's lived that, he spent 19 years in the NBA and from a player to a front office executive or a head coach, he's seen it from not only his career, but from, other guys that he's coached and you can be in the rotation 1 minute and out of it another, and someone goes down with an injury, you've got to be ready. So, we've got 17 guys on this roster and, in any given day, they're all back in there, getting some extra work and shots and ball handling or whatever it is that they need. And, it's pretty cool to see those guys coming in every day, even after, we've had a, pretty spirited practice or a workout. Those guys are all back in there and hats off to Coach and the culture he's built for that. And
you guys are all on standby for whoever's in the office. If they come knocking, you guys are excited to get out there on the court with them, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's what we're here for, to serve these guys. You hear that ball bouncing and ourselves, our graduate assistants, our managers, on days that we can't be in there and different parts of the season when we're not allowed in there, the managers are out there working with those guys and rebounding for them. And so, we love it. It's part of it. And it gives us a chance to spend time with them, and just be in a different element and give those guys the aux cord and let them play music and just it's their time, and we're there to support them and to sweat with them and let them know that we're here for them.
Which guy do you most like the aux cord, being in charge of the aux cord out there?
Man, that's a good question. Certainly not Juwan. A lot of our guys are pretty versatile. They'll listen to some new music. They'll listen to country, and so it just depends, Probably Kale. I think Kale and I have a lot of the same same taste in music, but we enjoy it all. And again, like I said, it's their time, so whatever they're in the mood for, sometimes they're in there with our kids and our family. So we got a great group of guys that they'll put on the clean version, and they have a pretty good awareness of their surrounding as well.
Oh, that's great. All right, just got about a minute or so left here. Coming up next, back at home, and we've talked about it. You guys need a good bounce back performance coming up Thursday against Rutgers.
Yeah, no question, and just watching a little bit of the Rutgers UCLA game right now. They've got a lead here at home, and a team that Coach Peichel is you've seen over the previous years. He's as good of a coach as there is in this league, and he gets them to defend. They're physical, they're tough. All the things that drive winning, his teams do. And so, even though they're on a 3-game losing skid, they're as talented of a group as we'll see. They've got 2 freshmen that are, by all accounts, being talked about as 2 top 10 picks, 2 lottery picks on their team. And so when you have that type of talent along with, guys that, support them well in terms of toughness and guys that are old and good role players, it poses a lot of challenges. And so, these next couple of days will be about us. We'll get back to what we need to be, doing well and what gives us a chance to win and clean some things up with this 2-game losing skid that we've got. But, certainly looking forward to the challenge of being back in front of the best fans in college basketball.
Love it. All right, great stuff. Appreciate you being here with us over this past hour.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
That is assistant coach Adam Howard with us here on our Nebraska Men's Basketball Hour. Huskers back at home inside Pinnacle Bank Arena coming up 8 o'clock tip against Rutgers on Thursday night. We'll have the call for you here starting with the pregame show starting at 7 o'clock. All right, hour number 2 of Sports Nightly coming up.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your foundation and damaging your home. Cracks in walls and uneven floors are just a few signs your foundation is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
I got to see my brother get married.
I would have missed my dad's birthday.
Because I wore my seatbelt, I had the privilege of being part of his special day.
I got to go home and see my family again.
Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
I was able to go to my brother's graduation.
I wouldn't have adopted my first pet.
And then it clicked. My seatbelt saved my life. Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
There's something to be said for American-made, but at Monolith, we're helping create Nebraska-made. From here in Nebraska, we're producing low-emission carbon black for tires across North America. Soon we'll be providing farmers with locally made fertilizer to reduce our reliance on foreign imports. We're investing hundreds of millions in our multiple Nebraska facilities and employing Nebraskans in high-paying jobs that support families and communities. Monolith, Nebraska-made.
Good evening, I'm Josh Shilkman, and our sports ticker is brought to you by the Department of Health and Human Services. The Nebraska baseball team was ranked number 24 in the preseason poll released by D1 Baseball today. The Huskers are coming off a 2024 season in which they won the Big Ten tournament and made the NCAA regionals. The 2025 season will begin for Will Bolt and the Big Red on February 14th as they face UC Irvine at the MLB Desert Invitational in Scottsdale, Arizona. Husker softball also made a top 25 ranking today, coming in at number 21 on Softball America's poll. Additionally, Jordy Ball was named the number 2 player to watch in the country by D1 Softball. The junior suffered a season-ending injury in the first game last season after transferring to Nebraska from Oklahoma. The Huskers begin their season on February 6th in Clearwater, Florida against Tennessee. A pair of Big Ten men's basketball games tonight. UCLA on the road against Rutgers. The Scarlet Knights up 50-45, 11 and a half minutes to go in that ball game. Maryland is up 56-53 on Minnesota, just under 10 minutes to play there. And the wild card round of the NFL playoffs will wrap up tonight with the Minnesota Vikings facing the LA Rams. Kickoff in just a few minutes. The game has been moved to Glendale, Arizona due to the wildfires in Los Angeles. The winner of tonight's game will play the Philadelphia Eagles on Saturday at 2 o'clock. Our sports ticker is brought to you by the Department of Health and Human Services. Call timeout if you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis. The 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. Hour 2 of Sports Nightly is up next, right here on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who remind you to buckle up and put the phone down.
Here comes UCLA the other way. Sebastian Mack, jump stop in the paint. It's taken away from him by Hoiberg. Hoiberg stripped him. Hoiberg across the timeline. Hoiberg waits for his teammates. On the pass to Butenjel, puts it up. Got it! Bang! Hoiberg driving, left lane, line stopping, goes weak side, bounce pass. Morgan's got it, strong with the ball, puts it up and in, and one. Nebraska with a 9-point lead, their biggest of the game. What a strong move by Morgan.
Rebound Campbell, Penn State looks to retake the lead. Britt Prince knocked it away at half court. Bojan got the loose ball. Bojan volleyball bats it to Prince. Rimdahl for 3, deep left wing. You betcha! Off the assist from Britt Prince. Out Bernie Rimdahl with a Central Valley A3. Forces a Penn State timeout.
Now, here are your hosts, Greg Sharpe and Jessica Coody on the Huskers Radio Network.
And we're back, hour number 2, Sports Nightly here on a Monday night. Thanks to Coach Howard for coming in our men's basketball show. That could not have been easy for him, Jess. I mean, that was tough yesterday, although I will say, I don't know that anybody in the country would have beat Purdue yesterday. You make 19 threes, and Nebraska plays a pretty good defense on some possessions, and they would throw one up there right to beat the shot clock, and boom, there it goes in. They were a tough out yesterday. Again, I don't think anybody, you could Kansas, Kentucky, whoever, I don't know anybody would have beat Purdue yesterday.
Yeah, and that's it. I left it on, and studio show came on, and those are the Big Ten analysts were talking about. That will be one of the better offensive performances that you will see in college basketball this season. And as much as it didn't look like Nebraska was playing good defense, a lot of it was just that offense is that much better, and yes, there were times that there were some breakdowns. You heard Coach Howard even say that. And Nate Lenzer is a perfectionist. He will be the first to tell you that we didn't make it hard enough on them. But there were some shots that went down that just were, hey, you got to tip your cap. And they were feeling it. It's almost like they were a little bit motivated by what happened here a year ago, Greg. Some of those guys.
You're right.
I
think you're right.
I think they wanted to give it to Nebraska a little bit after getting the court stormed on them last year. They were the number 1 team in the country, and Huskers beat them here in Lincoln. I think they had a little revenge on the mind going into that one. And I despise those early games, Greg. I am not a fan. I do not like those early games for basketball.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we know why they do it. It's TV. They're trying to, jam in three, maybe 4 games on BTN on a certain day, and so you got to start. And that their East Coast time, that didn't make a difference to us, but it was noon there in Lafayette for that tip. But I'm with you. I think you could, particularly if you're the road team, you could tend to be a little sleepy getting out of your hotel, coming over there and not quite ready to go. But I think you nailed it. I think Purdue kept in the back of their mind the court storm here last year, and they're like, oh, yeah, you think you've arrived, big boys? We're going to show you here today. And they were great. Tip your cap. They were really, really good. And I've seen Purdue a lot this year. They've looked good at times, pretty average at times. We got the best of their best yesterday, I think, and that's okay. We move on to the next one, and that's back home with Rutgers on Thursday night here. Rutgers in a battle right now with UCLA, as Josh just told you. We'll keep you posted on that score coming up. Speaking of Rutgers, that's where the Husker women were yesterday. Nebraska prevailed 69-62, and I have a lot of respect, Jess, for this Husker team winning that game on the road. They practiced in Lincoln on Saturday before they got on the plane to fly. That's when Allison Widener got hurt. All indications look that it's going to be another season-ending injury. You know how much that team loves Allison.
Yeah.
They had to be dealing with their psyche the whole way, flying 3 hours to Piscataway, but to kind of brush themselves off and get a road win, that was pretty cool yesterday for Amy Williams' team.
Yeah, Allison, just in the role that she's been in, she's been a big mentor to a lot of these young players and really put their arms around them. And so I just did an interview with Logan Nisley last month, and she just went on and on about how much Allison meant to her. So Allison means a lot to a lot of players on this team. So that had to be a tough blow to overcome and deal with and work through before taking the court at Rutgers, which the Big Ten Plus crew actually did a good job highlighting. There's been some battles between Rutgers and Nebraska over these last few years. You know, you kind of throw the record out, especially it's just a tough place to travel and play at Rutgers. And so for some of those young players to step up the way that they did, I think Britt French just continues to find another level to her game each time she's out on the court. And, they were gritty and found a way to win despite all the emotional, roller coaster that they were dealing with off the court. And now that's the second big loss that they've had of adversity that they've been dealt that they're going to have to work through and figure out, because even though Allison might not have been someone that just stuffed the stat sheet every night, how many times has she come in and provided a real spark off the bench, her leadership, her voice? And so that's going to be another tough one for this team that they're going to have to overcome. And boy, for a team that's already had to deal with quite a bit of adversity already, working through that, and now you got to step it up another notch, which they embraced that pretty well the first time with Natalie Potts going out. Okay, what do I need to do to fill this role? They really embrace that mentality. Now they're going to have to do it again without Allison Widener. But yeah, just a really, really impressive performance to be able to go and do that and find a way to win when it's not easy to win on the road at Rutgers, and then overcoming that on top of that, just really impressive. And now they're on a really impressive streak. So you bounce back following the 3-game loss, or the 3-game losing streak that were really tough ones. And now they've responded from that well and have strung together some good performances. So hopefully they continue to build even despite the loss without Allison Widener. But yeah, definitely tough news there to swallow. And just hate it for Allison, man. How much more can a person be dealt, and she's always had such a great mindset about it. I'm sure she will again here, but God, just of anybody, just another one, just heartbreaking for her to have another tough injury. How do you even explain it? It's just awful for her to have to go through that again.
The first one happened in a game. It was against Kansas a few years ago. Then the last two have happened in practice for her. So just heartbreaking for her. To add one more thing that made yesterday difficult and impressive for Nebraska is Rutgers had a girl go off. McMiller goes for 33 points. I mean, usually if you have somebody on the other team and you're the road team and they have somebody go nuts, you're not going to win. Well, Nebraska did. They won by 7, offsetting McMiller's 33. She was fantastic. I mean, 14 of 28 from the floor, made 5 threes. And Nebraska didn't shoot it overly well from 3-point range. That's putting it mildly. They were 3 of 22, but did other things well. Did decent from the free throw line. They out-rebounded Rutgers in this game. And I think it was Britt Prince kind of willed that team to the win with her gutsy play. She's out there 36 minutes a game, Jess. That's a lot for a freshman point guard, but I think right now Amy Williams feels like I got to keep her on the floor.
And I think Britt is fine with that. I think Britt's a player that wants to be out there as much as she can. And, to your point about the rebounding, remember they just got dominated on the boards in those 3 losses. And since then, they've been much better on the boards. And so kudos again to a team that's responded to where they got absolutely destroyed. Okay, we got to be better. And they've really embraced that and improved against that and against a team that in Rutgers that you needed that to be able to win that game when things were not going as well. Hitting from the outside, you had to do some of the other things. The toughness factor had to really step up, and they were really tough on the board. So that's another good thing. But yeah, I think Britt's okay with it, and she's been a big part of the rebounding too, which she wasn't as much at the beginning of the season. But that was one of the conversations that was had with her about, all right, what can you do to help supplement the loss of Natalie Potts? What Natalie Potts did so well, she was really great on the boards. Britt has taken it upon herself to contribute more in that area, and now the Huskers, and you're seeing her just continue to get better and better on the boards and providing another element to her game when she already provides so much to the court. She is special. She's really fun to watch.
Well, and you're still in the resume building part of your season. Road wins, you need to have a couple of those that show the committee we can win away from home. So I think that's Nebraska's first
true road game win. Yeah, true road win. Yep.
So you want to get those. They go to Iowa Thursday, and they'll have a shot at Iowa. This is not Iowa of the last 4 years with Caitlin Clark. They'll have a chance. Now, got to try to build off the momentum of this game, and those games at Iowa City always seem to be really close. Even when Caitlin was there, Nebraska put up some really good fights over there against them.
Yeah, it's a rivalry game, and both teams will be fired up to play in this one. And I think you go into the season thinking without Caitlin Clark, a little bit like Purdue men, how are they going to respond? And I think Purdue men are starting to figure out how to play without Zach Edey. And Iowa women, you think, they're without Caitlin Clark, they're going to take a step back. But they were recruited well. They got some additions from the transfer portal. Also lost their head coach, but have been pretty solid. So, and they're going to be fired up to play Nebraska at home. So, yeah, I got to imagine it's going to be another big fight. And both these teams, it means a lot to both these programs, as that I would say the Nebraska-Iowa women's basketball rivalry is about as heated as any other sport. Wouldn't you say?
I think so. Yeah, it is. And, Nebraska spoiled them a couple of times, beat them at PBA last year. On national TV, that was beautiful to see that thing happen. Iowa did lose at home yesterday. Indiana went into Carver Hawkeye and beat them. So they'll be motivated not to lose 2 in a row at home. And if you're Nebraska, you're like, let's keep this thing going. 3 straight wins, 1 of them on the road. Let's keep this thing rolling. We will have a women's radio show coming your way tomorrow night during hour 1 of the program. Have not had Amy Williams in studio for a little while. Had the holidays. They had that long road trip that they went to Los Angeles to play both USC and UCLA, but so we'll have a women's show coming your way tomorrow night on the program. Before I get to the first break, and we've got Nick Handley coming up in the next segment, we'll talk to Nick. Got some news that we're going to relay to you about Nick, but I do want some thoughts about Husker wrestling.
Yeah.
What a great duel they had on Saturday against Minnesota, 2 top 10 teams, very competitive, really fun. The atmosphere looked great. I watched a chunk of that on Saturday, so congratulations to Mark Manning's team to beat Minnesota, because, Nebraska came off of a tough loss the week before to Northern Iowa, but they responded. They were really fired up and notched a nice victory on Saturday.
Yeah, and Greg, you and I talked about that. Maybe a little bit of a wake-up call that this team needed, dropping that one to UNI, which UNI is a great program, and it was a top 10 matchup, but still, Huskers, you get to a point where you are expected to win no matter where you go, and that was still a matchup that they were expected to win, didn't win on the road. And so I think it was a wake-up call. And, Minnesota goes up, was it 13-7?
Yes.
And then Nebraska rolls off, and Caleb Smith at 125 gets a big win. And, boy, they really did. They had a great showing. And I could not remember. I thought the sellout match was last weekend, but it's not. That just goes to show you how great the crowd was. It seemed like the atmosphere was great. It seemed like the wrestlers were really feeding off. The Huskers were feeding off the crowd. It was a big win. That was another top 10 win, which almost every time you have a Big Ten opponent on the schedule from here on out, it seems like it's going to be a top 10 matchup. So the first, and at home, protecting the home mat. And this is a nice bounce back really great performance. And shout out Mark Manning. What win was that for him?
300.
Career win 300 for Mark Manning. So congratulations.
And this week, here comes number 1 Penn State. That's going to be a huge match. Penn State, I think it was Michigan State that they dueled over the weekend. They beat them 55-0.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, they're loaded. They are really loaded. So, folks, you got to get out there and help root the Huskers on this weekend when Penn State makes their way to the Devaney Center to take on the Cornhuskers. So it should be fun. But, yeah, shout out to Coach Manning. Terrific atmosphere. He came across on BTN as I was watching that, had a blast, and enjoyed watching the Huskers do their thing. It was also kind of cool to see Gable Stevenson, the Olympic gold medalist from Minnesota, wrestle in the heavyweight division. I'm told that he signed a lot of autographs while he was there. Good for him. He's probably going to win the NCAAs. I'm not sure how this works. He's been an Olympian. I think he's even done some WWE, and now he's back in college. I don't know. The line has been blurred between amateurism and professionalism.
At this point, it doesn't matter. I think you
Right.
can come back, especially, I don't know. We were actually just chatting about that. We're waiting on some legislation, some ruling on giving 5 years and JUCO not counting. And so I saw Lexi Rodriguez made some comments about it over the weekend. Let's bring back let's bring back Lexi, but it's going to be wild. But it's crazy because he leaves, he does all these things, and he comes back, and he's just on a whole nother level. There's a reason why he's an Olympic gold medalist. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Folks, Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse, the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. Our old pal Nick Handley is going to join the show. We'll talk to him next.
For 48 straight years, Ford F-Series have been the best-selling trucks in America. We got here by engineering breakthrough technology, redefining Built Ford Tough, and never settling for second best. But what's really made Ford F-Series the #1 selling trucks in America is you. Ford F-Series, Built Ford Tough. Based on 1977 to 2024 calendar year total sales.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
Because my mom wore her seatbelt that day, I get to hug her when I go home.
And then it clicked. Because I wore my seatbelt, I learned that one moment in time can change a person's life forever.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
The day we were hit was the second to last day of our high school careers.
We were about to graduate as best friends together.
And then it clicked. Because we wore our seatbelt that day, we still get to experience life together.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
On game day, every play counts. Now imagine having the same level of control in your field. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Real-time, play-by-play control means you're always ahead of the game. Score big with simplified irrigation technology from Valley, improving your life both on and off the field. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
In the heartland, where ambition thrives, there are those who are made and those who are made for more. Just like the Huskers on game day, Kloss, a leading producer of ag equipment, unleashes the power of ambition in the field. Discover why our cutting-edge machinery and unwavering support aren't just a promise, they're a commitment to your success. Because at Kloss, we know you are made for more. Visit your Kloss dealer or CLAAS.com.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your basement and damaging your home. Mold, cracks, and of course visible water are just a few signs your basement is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
I got to see my brother get married.
I would have missed my dad's birthday.
Because I wore my seatbelt, I had the privilege of being part of his special day.
I got to go home and see my family again.
Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
I was able to go to my brother's graduation.
I wouldn't have adopted my first pet.
And then it clicked. My seatbelt saved my life. Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
You may have heard about Monolith. How right here in Nebraska, we're producing low-emission carbon black for tires across North America. How we'll soon be providing farmers with locally made fertilizer to reduce our reliance on foreign imports. How we're investing hundreds of millions in multiple Nebraska facilities. You might have heard Monolith is changing the world. We're not. You are. Along with many other Nebraskans in high-paying jobs that support families and communities. Monolith, Nebraska made.
Our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, sponsored by Akrs. They are the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. Greg Sharpe, Jessica Coody back with you on a Monday night, and we've got a bit of an announcement to make here tonight that we are adding someone to our roster, or I guess I should say bringing someone back to our roster, and that's Nick Handley, who called Husker baseball for darn near a decade and then had to step away from last year, but you're going to come back and do that and then help us out some on Sports Nightly. Is that correct?
That's what I've been told. I'm excited. Excited to work with both of you. And for you, Greg, won't be the same in the booth without you. But especially as I can always say this one, we're not going to go to State College and you're going to have me look for the nicest steak place, and then I end up getting us at a Bonanza. I can't wait. I've been wanting to get back into it when I had to step away with competing station issues, as everyone kind of knows the business. But got a chance to continue doing some college baseball with the CWS and then with some Creighton baseball. But heart was always with Will Bolt and the guys, so really excited to be back.
The Bonanza wasn't bad, actually. I'll give it, I'll give it a solid B. It wasn't one of those 4-star restaurants, but it was, Bonanza. You got a salad bar, you go load up on that. It was okay.
You were such a good sport about it. I had this huge, just whopping plate of shame in front of me of, man, I had one job to do on this road trip and I completely let us down. And you're just talking about, hey, this isn't bad. This isn't bad. I'm like, Greg, come on. This is terrible. We got to do better than this.
You never can beat a good salad bar. Can we just pause and give Josh a shout out for the intro music, introing you back with country grammar?
Oh, I mean, that's Josh knows me well enough. He knows some of my jams there too. So I don't know if that was intentional or if that was.
I think it was.
Okay, that's good. That's what Josh does. It's great to see some of the familiar faces as well. So I mean, this is good. This is good. I'm so excited about this.
Well, you said it, and you've said this multiple times about how much you enjoy working with this baseball coaching stuff. Why is that? Why do you enjoy being a part of this and working with this Nebraska Cornhusker baseball coaching staff?
I would say, Jessica, really the thing about being around Will, but also the coaches that they've had, and this also goes back to Darren too, and you always see that passion that these guys bring and the differences on how they go about and not only teaching the game, but managing the game throughout the 9 innings that we get a chance to call and watching how they're, the wheels turn, that passion that they have, but also those baseball minds and a lot of people who have been in the game or have played the game. There's not much better than sitting down with the coach before the game and just talking baseball, talking shop. And both of those guys, they do it so well. Darren Erstad did it so good. And I always enjoyed my conversations with Ted Silva as well. And then when Will came over, and even when Jeff Christie was the pitching coach and had a chance to be part of that NIL golf scramble with Ben, and we had Rob Childers in our foursome, and he'll have to tell you about the choke down 5-wood that he always uses. But just some of the great personalities that I've had a chance to be around. I mean, we've seen some great seasons. We've seen a couple leaner years too, but just the overall personalities that I've had a chance to experience, and I know Greg and Ben, you guys have seen that as well. You feel like you're part of the group, and they've always been so welcoming. And Will and his staff have been outstanding. Anytime when I wasn't doing the games, if there was a big win or there was a milestone that Will had, I'd always want to just text him and let him know that I was still rooting them on and thinking about those guys. So they've always just kind of felt like family. And so I think, and that's on them. They're the ones that have always been so welcoming to the broadcast. You don't feel like outsiders. They welcome you into the group, and on the road trips or at home, it's just you always feel like you're part of what's going on there.
Busy with Nick.
Greg, I got a couple welcome backs for him on the chat, but also a question: what's your sunflower seed of choice?
I was always a Biggs guy. Yeah, I was always a big sunflower seeds guy. I know there's some new stuff around, but
what about
when I used to coach baseball. What's that?
What about the flavor, though? That's from Children of the Corn. He's a barbecue guy, so.
Barbecue, yeah. I wasn't huge on flavors. Barbecue and ranch, I would dabble in, but I want old school. I don't need flavor, and I want my mouth to be extremely raw and sore by the time a game's over when I was playing and coaching. But yeah, I was always a big sunflower seeds guy.
Again, Nick Handley is with us. We're making the announcement tonight. He's after a 1-year absence. Was it just 1 or 2?
It was 2. Yeah,
2 years. Oh, how did that go? He's going to be back with us on our baseball broadcast starting here in about a month. I forget, was it 2015 your first season with us? You got into the rotation when Lane left to go to the Brewers. Was it 15?
Yes, it was. Yes, it would have been 2015. And then I did kind of it was a shorter, kind of a smaller schedule. You guys eased me into it, and then we beefed up the schedule a little bit in 2016 where I did a lot more. So yeah, I think 2015 would have been the first go around with it.
I want to ask you about 2017 because you were on the call for that when Nebraska clinched the Big Ten championship at Penn State. I wasn't on that bonanza trip that time, but that had to be one of the highlights, right? The call when they won the title.
No doubt. That was awesome. And if you remember, it was that Thursday, Friday, Saturday series because that was the last regular season. So everything was wrapped up on a Saturday, and we were doing a lot of scoreboard watching with Minnesota because Nebraska lost on Thursday. And so we're thinking that door is closed because Minnesota was so hot. But then Minnesota ended up losing 2, opened the door back up. And so we're out in State College figuring, what's going to happen. Nebraska ends up winning Friday, and then Saturday, holy cow. I mean, I think it was 17-0 by the 3rd or 4th inning, and we're just trying to figure out how we're going to celebrate, how we're going to have that final call because there was no drama whatsoever. It was kind of a cool, drizzly morning of baseball. It was their senior day as well. I remember Trace McSorley was there to throw out the first pitch, and Nebraska completely wrecked that, but also a total class move by Darren. They had you remember this, they had a little bit of the dog pile at home, but then they got the heck out of there, and they celebrated well away from the field so Penn State could still have their senior day too. But that team was fun, and then we all went out to Bloomington for the Big Ten tournament, which felt like we were there for a month. But that was one of the coolest things, watching that team really turn it on at the right time, but also, having that Big Ten regular season crown.
All right, well, just came out today as Josh had in the ticker, but a top 25 baseball team entering the season. What excites you about this group and the experience that Coach Bolt has coming back this year?
That's the great question right now because you can lean on the rotation of what Nebraska brings back and looking at what a lot of these guys were able to do in the summer. We saw Jalen Worthley at that NIL golf event. He looks like he put on maybe 15, 20 pounds of muscle just over the summer. Excited to see what his role is going to look like on the mound. Having a guy like Mason McConaughey back, and even a lot of good things out of what Ty Horn did. And you have so many other arms that are going to factor into this thing. So I think it's a great situation that Rob Childers has as far as trying to figure out who is going to factor into the rotation, but also having those midweek guys. And as of course we remember, Nebraska had some struggles in midweek, but they took care of business on the weekend. So, you hope that they're able to, I think with the amount of arms, they're going to be able to really remedy that situation. But then the offense as well, between what they can do from the power standpoint, you return almost all of your runs batted in production, but also, having a guy like Silva on the base path and what he can generate from that standpoint. And as we know, Will Bolt likes to generate that running game on the base path, be aggressive and hit behind runners at times. So I just think the options of what they can do both offensively and defensively on the mound and what they have in the outfield too. And then the additions, I'm excited to see what Cale Frost can do coming from South Dakota State, being the Summit League Player of the Year. That's a great addition. Some pop in the lineup, some more pop in the lineup. He had 21 bombs last year for the Jackrabbits. So some really good options, new additions, but man, they bring back some force as well.
Sure do. I was a little surprised that they were ranked, pleasantly surprised, because D1 baseball, those guys carry a lot of weight in the college baseball world. So if they're already recognizing Nebraska as a nationally ranked team, that's a pretty good start. You and I and Ben, we always get excited when we see the schedule come out. Man, you guys there's some terrific road trips coming up in the next 2 months for this team.
Well, and I remember talking about this not that long ago. This is, Jessica, how I got broken into it. I was always told the certain games as the newbie what I would be doing if we ever had to go to Piscataway and we ever had to go to a gem called Bainton Field, Greg he'd always have something going on that weekend. Like, can you take that trip? Can you do that trip? And now on the schedule, I notice it's Maryland. Maybe not the ideal destination from a broadcast standpoint. Always a very good baseball program with Maryland, but that Arizona trip right out of the gate is going to be fantastic. Having Irvine and Vanderbilt, San Diego State on there, and then playing Grand Canyon the following day just a non-conference game while we're out there in Arizona. That's going to be cool. Of course, there's that LA trip. And, guys, who knows what that's going to look like? I know Pepperdine wasn't impacted, at least as of now, with the wildfires, but that could be a very sobering experience just as we're coming in and seeing the devastation out there. So that's going to be kind of tough, but those new additions to the Big Ten, I think, are going to be fun to see how Nebraska competes with them. I'm looking forward to that one. And even though I'm not going to be on that trip, the Frisco, Texas one, I remember when you guys were out there and Nebraska had pulled off the upset against Texas Tech, who was rated, in top 5?
Top 5.
Yeah, and that was awesome to see, too. And that was that great 2019 season. So that's another great road trip. And, hey, you know what? I love Cajun food. Louisiana Lafayette, bring it on. I'm looking forward to that one, too. That's going to be a lot of fun. And then, of course, we got Oregon State at home at Hawks Field. That is going to be fantastic. That schedule is awesome. Some really great road trips, but also a lot for the home crowd to get excited for, too.
All right, Greg, what were the trips that you were not going to go on?
Well, Ben's in this now, too, because he refuses to go to Iowa. He goes, I'm not doing Iowa anymore. Rutgers, Nick he's dead on. Rutgers really doesn't have a press box, so I use seniority on that one. And the Maryland one isn't much better. So those two ballparks are really, really rough that I wouldn't go on. Jess, and I know Nick's going to be with you on Wednesday night. He's going to sit in on some sports nightlies for us as well in the coming weeks. Nick's a big golf fan. Jess, you are too. His only drawback is he's not a Bryson DeChambeau guy. And I don't get that. I love Bryson.
Do you?
I do.
I feel like you like to needle me on this. I feel it started with Koepka. I was never a huge Koepka fan. Then you always like to talk about Koepka, and then DeChambeau always drove me crazy with his pace of play and just his weird behavior, on and off the course.
You can't dislike both those guys. It's a choice.
Right.
Yeah, and I guess I guess I'm Team Koepka then. Because at least he's kind of dialed. Yeah, he's kind of dialed it back. I'm more of I'm pro Koepka. I think Bryson tried too hard during the U.S. Open to get everybody to like him. There's something there. You got to keep your eye on. Let's see if he can keep that act going. Is all I'm saying.
I think he's a man of the people.
We've got some comments about your waste management flag. Is that going to happen? Are you going to be going out there? Are they going to scale that one back this year?
I heard. There was this really crazy idea that they were going to not have alcohol sales. I can't imagine at the waste management them doing away, but they are going to. They're just the last I heard is they're going to be doubling up security, and it's going to be a lot more. It's going to be a lot more structured when it comes to who they let in and being observed on fans' behavior. And the funny thing about that one is, you guys know. The players don't seem to mind. I mean, they know what they're getting themselves into, especially when they go to 16 in the stadium par 3 there. But Last year was a little crazy, and I've only been there once. I went to the Pro-Am. This would have been right before COVID. It was in the 2020 year, and even the Pro-Am that Wednesday was just a scene, absolute scene. And so I've always wanted to go out there on either Thursday, Friday, or during the actual tournament itself. But I got to say, in my older years, that would have been a little overwhelming with what took place last year. But hopefully they will keep it to be the party event, but it won't be out of control to the point that they have to think about shutting things down.
Jess, you've been to that, haven't you?
I did, and I went when it was not the Pro-Am, and I got to where it was pretty out of control. I did see a couple of players get frustrated because you're talking about people screaming in backswings and walking on the course, and there was a streaker that dove into the pond. I saw some wild things happening while I was there, so I think I was on the verge of it starting to get out of hand. And then last year, because I went 2 years ago, and then last year, of course, it was completely off the rails, but it was fun. I mean, I'd go back, but it was wild for sure. It's definitely unlike any other golfing event I've ever been to, and I've been to a few.
Well, and it peaked last year with all of the wild behavior, right?
Yeah.
Because I think it had always been kind of building to what happened last year. That's where I think they have now decided to be a little more proactive and say, if we don't get on top of this now, this thing is just going to be an absolute circus if it isn't already. So, not everybody can be a Joel Damon and taking his shirt off after, he makes a birdie putt. We need more guys like that, but I know sometimes that doesn't always connect with the fans for the best behavior, at least. So
Bryson would take his shirt off and party with the fans.
Well, he would tell you that he has a six-pack, and he would want to tell you why, and then he'd go over all of the nutrition that he is about and the science that's behind it. I'm not bitter.
Crazy. John in Omaha on our text line said, Nick, welcome back. So excited to have you back in the fold where you belong. There you go.
I appreciate that. Thank you, John. I'm excited. I can't wait to get going. We're 4 weeks away from this thing.
Isn't that crazy?
Unbelievable.
So Nick will be a part of it. David, who did some games last year, will also be a part of it. You and David have done games going back a decade or so, right?
Oh, yeah. David and I did some Creighton games together a long time ago. David and I actually even coached baseball together, too. David and I, we hung around. You go all the way back to like 2005 is when I met David, when he was working in Omaha doing news talk radio. So, David is a friend. So I'm excited to work with him as well.
Fantastic. Well, I'm looking forward to you guys are going to be together, you and Jess, on Wednesday night for Sports Nightly. Again, Nick, congratulations. Great to have you back in there. I know our audience is really excited. Just look at our chat room tonight. They're really, really excited about getting you back on the Husker Network.
Thank you, guys. I can't wait to be a part of it. Can't wait to work with you, Jessica, and can't wait to be back at the ballpark. Going to be great.
Talk to you Wednesday.
Sounds good. I look forward to it.
Thanks, Nick. Nick Handley joining us on our Woodhouse Auto Family Hotline. They are proud to be the trusted partner for all of us every day since 1975. You can go shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse, the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. More of the show coming up next.
For 48 straight years, Ford F-Series have been the best-selling trucks in America. We got here by engineering breakthrough technology, redefining Built Ford Tough, and never settling for second best. But what's really made Ford F-Series the #1 selling trucks in America is you. Ford F-Series, Built Ford Tough. Based on 1977 to 2024 calendar year total sales.
Preparation is the key to success on game day. And like your favorite Huskers on the field, you need to be ready right from the opening kickoff. Cenex has your pregame routine covered. We've got your salty snacks, your sweet treats, ice-cold beverages to wash them down, and fresh tanks of propane to fire up the grill. Fuel your fandom at your local Cenex station. Husker Pride, powered locally.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Dear Truckin' Awesome. Want more horsepower in the stable? The Tundra iForce Max is the most powerful Tundra ever. With its electrifying twin-turbo V6, you got everything you need. Saddle up the Tacoma TRD Pro. Its segment-first performance seats are designed to smooth out the shocks when the ride gets bumpy. The Toyota 4Runner is part mean streak, part wild side, and an all-around icon. Check out that signature power rear window, will ya? Yes, sir. Toyota trucks. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
See your Omaha Metro and Lincoln Toyota dealers. Corwin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha, Baxter Toyota of La Vista, or Baxter Toyota of Lincoln.
Hello, Husker Nation. This is Lex Rodriguez, All-American Libero, serving you an ace on behalf of Noddle Companies based in Omaha, Nebraska. Noddle Companies is a full-service leader in commercial real estate, digging deep to create thriving communities like the Builders District, Exarban Village, and the contemporary row house townhomes. They bring world-class concepts in fashion, great eats, gorgeous homes, and green spaces, all professionally managed by Noddle Services. To dig up more information, find them on Facebook and Instagram. Noddle Companies, building a better Nebraska.
When you're in the stands and have the ability to control your irrigation in the field, it's a game-changing moment. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Experience real-time, play-by-play action and control that keeps you ahead. Score big with irrigation technology from Valley. It's technology that improves your life and lets you be at the game and in the game. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Husker fans, it's game day, and Pizza Hut's got your perfect play. Score the game day special for just $29.99. Get 2 medium 3-topping pizzas, 8 boneless wings, and 5 breadsticks. Enough to feed 8 hungry fans. Pizza, wings, breadsticks, and more. It's the ultimate lineup to fuel your game day. Check out the full menu online at pizzahut.com or in store. Because remember, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
Get started on your next adventure at Woodhouse GMC. No matter where you're headed, we've got a ride built for the journey. Save up to $7,000 off MSRP on the 2024 Yukon SLT 4x4. Shop in-store or online at WoodhouseBuickGMC.com. Woodhouse Buick GMC. We are professional grade. With approved credit, $299 doc fee due at signing. Offer applies to select stock numbers. Must trade a 2011 or newer vehicle to qualify. Stock number V241263. Offer expires 1/31/2025. See dealer for details.
Folks, your Husker football team's fresh off of a Pinstripe Bowl victory and are gearing up for an exciting 2025 season. Secure your seat in the Sea of Red for all 7 home games by becoming a 2025 Husker football season ticket holder. 2025 football season tickets are on sale now in selected end zone locations. They start at just $420 to purchase. Go visit huskers.com/tickets. Go Big Red. Transfer portal still going on. I think Nebraska's up to 16 guys they have taken out of the transfer portal to add to the roster, and still obviously need to make some more cuts. They don't have to get to the 105 until August when the camp opens in August. So they've got plenty of time to get down to that number, but there's still a lot of names that are going to have to fall off Nebraska's roster so they can get down and be in compliance with the new college football rules. We talked briefly about wrestling. What a great match that was on Saturday with Minnesota. Penn State coming up this week. This is kind of the peak meet of the year. This will be your – are they doing a whiteout? Is it a white? No, it's not a whiteout. What is it going to be for Saturday?
I don't know, but I do know they're pushing to sell out, and there's a limited number left. So great already response to it, and I think – and the thing is like Penn State fans travel well, so we want Husker fans to get those tickets, not Penn State fans. When they came here for the Big Ten tournament a few years back, I felt like half the arena was Penn State fans. So
really,
well, there was a lot. Maybe that was a little bit over exaggerating, but there was a lot. They travel well, and Iowa fans travel well. So Husker fans need to get those tickets and make sure that it's dominated by Husker fans, because obviously, as we saw yesterday or 2 days ago, they feed off of it, just like the basketball team does. We talked about that with Adam Howard. Women's basketball has said that. So this is a big one coming up against number 1, Penn State, who, like you said, they just reload every year.
Sure do. That's a Friday night match, 8 o'clock at the Devaney Center. If you haven't got tickets, go get them. Would love to fill it up with red and go root on the Cornhuskers for that. Husker men's basketball back home with Rutgers on Thursday night. The women are at Iowa on Thursday. There's another one of those days you don't like. I don't like them either. Both the men and women playing not at the exact same time, but pretty darn close where you got to kind of double up and watch your viewing both teams at the same night anyway.
Not a fan at all. We got to figure that out. We need to not be competing with the teams on at the same time. We need, like you mentioned, if one of them are on the road, one of them needs to be at home. I think we need to address that. But hey, we talked about that with Coach Howard in the first hour. It's become quite the show, and there's a lot of different things that go into the production of a game. So the last home game, well, I guess it was against UCLA. Searles, the big dog, goes and takes his family, and he's texting me. Apparently they had a hot dog eating contest, and he was very disappointed in the performance of the hot dog eating contest and felt like he would destroy that contest, which I can't disagree with. But Big Dog felt like he would be a better contestant at the hot dog eating contest at PBA.
He made me almost sick one time when he told me how many he thought he could eat in one setting. I'm like, ooh, that sounds awful.
Yeah.
I don't remember the number, but it was really high. I'm like, oh, Jeremiah, that sounds terrible.
Well, he was big on the Joey Chestnut train or whatever over the summer, and now I think he's got it in his mind. Maybe that's his next calling. I don't know. He also is big into, have you seen the, it's like a sport now, but you're riding horse, like the stick horses.
Yeah.
People ride them and they jump fences and stuff. And so he gets a kick out of sending me those videos. And I'm like, this is crazy how people are committed. But I think he thinks those two sports he could maybe compete in now that football's done is hot dog eating and the stick horses competition.
That is crazy. 10-0 Rams lead the Vikings after one. My goodness, what a start by Los Angeles. The winner gets Philadelphia in the next round of the NFL playoffs, and a couple of finals in college basketball for tonight. Maryland rallied in the second half to beat Minnesota 77-71. The Gophers still looking for their first win in conference play, and UCLA struggles continue. They lose to Rutgers tonight at Jersey Mike's Arena by a final score of 75-69. So Rutgers will be here in 3 days. Mick Cronin not loving life right now. The UCLA coach has ripped his team, ripped officials, ripped the scheduling, ripped the Big Ten. I can't wait to what he's going to say after this one tonight.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will be tuning in. He caused quite the waves his last press conference, so I think a lot of people, Big Ten Network might be carrying it live here pretty soon. Could be. All right, we need to slip our final break of the night in. When we come back, everybody's weekend winners headed your way. Come on back.
In the heartland, where ambition thrives, there are those who are made and those who are made for more. Just like the Huskers on game day, Kloss, a leading producer of ag equipment, unleashes the power of ambition in the field. Discover why our cutting-edge machinery and unwavering support aren't just a promise, they're a commitment to your success. Because at Kloss, we know you are made for more. Visit your Kloss dealer or CLAAS.com.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Hey Huskers, it's a new day in Nebraska. Manzer Equipment, Mertz Farm Equipment, and West Point Implement of Columbus have teamed up as True Ag and Turf. Coach Rule is bringing innovation and high-performance standards to Husker football, and True Ag is doing the same to your farm with game-changing Fendt equipment. As Big Red establishes power on the field, True Ag and Turf does the same in the field by welcoming Fendt to Nebraska.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse, the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. Final segment of Monday Night Show. We always save this for our weekend winners. Jessica, what's on your plate?
Well, I'm going to give it up. We've talked about it a lot, but I'm going to give it up to Husker wrestling. Specifically, I'm going to go with Caleb Smith at 125. It was after Gable Stevenson. So the way that they did the rotation, they started, what was it at? 157. And so it was the 125 followed heavyweight. And so I thought Caleb Smith came out and gave the Huskers a lift, some momentum moving forward into the rest of the match. And it was a top 5 win for him. I think it was ranked number 5, and Caleb Smith ranked in number 7. And so you could just tell the momentum really swung back to the Huskers after that because Minnesota had taken the lead. But big win for them starting off the conference and giving Coach Manning his 300th win. So I'll give it up to Husker wrestling.
Fantastic. Love it. Josh.
I've got Pitt women's basketball. So yesterday they trailed 46-14 late in the second quarter against SMU, but they pulled off one of the biggest comebacks in NCAA history, winning 72-59.
Wow.
That comeback included a 28-0 run in the third quarter. And so what was cool about this, though, is what really caught my eye is Pitt's head coach is Tony Verdi. And if you recognize that name, that's because he was an assistant on the Nebraska women's basketball team that was on the undefeated regular season in 2009, 2010. Right. So
wow.
Kind of a cool connection there to Husker women's basketball.
How big was the deficit?
They were down 46-14 was the biggest deficit, 32 points. I think it tied a record in NCAA women's basketball for the largest comeback.
Wow. Crazy.
I've never heard. And a conference game too, right?
Yeah, conference game.
I mean, if that had been a non-con game or something, but man, that should have been, there should be no way that should swing that. That's huge. I had not heard that.
Yeah.
Good find on that. All right, I'm not going with a person, but an object. My winner is the goalpost for the Commanders' kick that ricocheted through the uprights to allow them to win over Tampa Bay last night. So the Tampa Bay goalpost helped Washington move on in the playoffs. That thing hit it hard, and it carried them through, but not out, but through to give the Commanders a victory. Did you guys see that doink?
I did.
Yes, and that was despite the sock doing all that it could to prevent it. It was the sock and the goalpost competing.
Yeah. Well, and Greg, when you said that you said it was going to be an object, I thought you were going to go with A.J. Brown's book being the winner because
how about that?
It went from like 500,000 on Amazon to number 1 overnight. Crazy.
So if people aren't sure what the story is, A.J. Brown, a wide receiver for the Eagles, is spotted yesterday during the playoff game pulling out a book to read, and it was like a motivational book. So he's sitting there on the bench reading a book. I don't have a problem with it. I think it's okay, but it's pretty darn odd, isn't it?
Maybe he's a guy that can't know anything else is going on in the game, so he's got to just, I don't know, take his mind off of it.
He said it's not the first time he's done it. It's the first time that cameras have caught him doing it. So, yep.
Wow. He needs to put it back behind like a playbook, you know?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Like disguise it like what we used to do in high school growing up. If you were trying to hide a book, put it behind it, you know?
I never did that. But or like an iPad. They have those iPads down there on the sidelines to do that. Does he get fined? Do you think they fine him for that?
I don't know.
I'm going to add it to the fine list. Reading a book on the sideline.
I mean, they might do that. All right, good show tonight. Tomorrow night, women's basketball show, hour 1. We're going to talk some Husker women's tennis tomorrow night in hour 2. They are about ready to launch their season with a couple of matches coming up here in the next several days. Both the men and women are about ready to start their seasons. We've got some of the, as we mentioned, softball's not too far away. Congratulations to Rhonda Revelle. Her team now ranked. That's not the only poll they're going to be ranked in. And Jordy Ball already just catching some headlines. The number 2 player in the country. Woo, that's big time stuff there.
Yeah, and I think from what I'm hearing, she's coming off that injury really well. So
good.
She's already done what she's done. There's reason why she is coming into this season with such high expectations, and now it'll be seeing how she comes off that injury. But they have actually an internal media day tomorrow. I'm going to try to catch up with a couple of those players tomorrow.
Great. Sounds good. Pretty cool to have both men, the baseball team and softball team, ranked in preseason. That is hard to do as a northern school. Thanks to Josh for steering the ship. Thanks for all of you for being a part of it. We're back to do it again tomorrow night.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Attention, Husker Nation. Are you ready to power up your game? Sap Brothers high-quality off-road red diesel is the fuel that powers your equipment. As official sponsors of the Huskers, we're here with a winning offer with the Sap Brothers Go Big Red Fuel Giveaway. Contract your upcoming fuel needs by February 1st and enter to win 1,000 free gallons of our off-road red diesel to keep your engine roaring and equipment running strong. Sap Brothers fuels Husker Nation. Visit sapbros.net/fuel giveaway for more info.
What does it mean to be locally owned and operated? For Cenex, it means everything. It means that we know if you take your coffee to go or if you like to stay a while. It means we've helped Little Leagues get jerseys and local festivals get funding. It means we know what our communities need. So you'll always leave Cenex with a full tank, full of snacks, or full of smiles. Or all of the above. And that means the world to us. Cenex, powered locally.
Set, hike. When champions take the field, they come ready to play. TNL Irrigation understands the value of momentum. Like a Husker drive, there's no stopping. If you live for farming and football like we do, TNL Irrigation has you covered. Check your fields from the game with a remote system, or just enjoy the play, knowing our systems are reliable as a sold-out Memorial Stadium. Touchdown! Nebraska born, Nebraska strong. Husker Nation and TNL Irrigation are like no other.
Want to boost Nebraska's economy and help the planet? It's as easy as filling up your tank. Switch to soy-based biodiesel to cut greenhouse gases by up to 74% and support biodiesel growth.
I'm Greg Anderson, a farmer near Newman Grove, Nebraska, and biodiesel has transformed our farm. It cuts emissions, raises the cetane number, and improves fuel lubricity.
So ask for biodiesel where you fill up. It benefits